I hope you're well today. Thanks for being here. So, you may be in this place I was not too long ago where you've reached what would be the pinnacle of human existence, or all the success that everybody told you success would be in this life, but you still were left feeling empty, and there was still a hole there and some kind of spark internally, some kind of feeling where you're like, man, this just doesn't feel right. This is not everything I want. And you might be looking towards spirituality or religion in some way to kind of open up a different viewpoint for yourself. But the challenge in that can be that a lot of us have reservations in moving that direction. And we'll talk today about why those reservation exists. But the main thing is, once you move into the spiritual path, if you're willing to start the steps down it, there's a couple really big things that it could provide that can be helpful in terms of setting you in this place of alignment, in this place of connection and pursuing your highest excitement. So, much like the regular world that we live in, we're chasing all these goals. And I think like a big part of us, a lot of us out there are chasing some set of goals, some set of idea of success that's mostly this average of success that the external world tells us success is, whether it's money or material possessions or any of that, or a certain title at a job. So we're all like running and chasing these things, right? And at some point, a lot of us realize that that's just really shallow in terms of fulfillment. It's shallow, and the fulfillment doesn't last long. Like, say we buy some new thing. I mean, the fulfillment lasts like an hour, a couple days or something, and then we're at this place where we need something else. We're chasing something else. So that takes us to this place where we start looking outside of this human framework of success to think there's something bigger here. And what is this reason I have this feeling internally like I'm part of something bigger, and what is my true purpose? And the challenge with religion and spirituality, especially for me, when I started looking, when I knew that these answers were outside of the human world, I knew that they were outside of it, but I had like these real reservations from religion and spirituality. But that, now that I look at it, that was simply just because that there's a lot of contradiction in there, simply because of the human element in there, right? And it's not wrong, but you see certain religions or spiritual practices preaching certain things, and then you see the people who are a part of that doing the exact opposite. And it really turns you off. So it's not like any one religion specific or one spiritual path specific. It's just the nature of humanity, right? That we all want this higher level of fulfillment, but we're all challenged to some extent with not having awakened fully to, the divine side of things, our higher self, and we're fighting the human element of just ego and chasing things that aren't aligned with a more spiritual path, right? So when you realize that, you start to think about it and you're like, well, okay, maybe there's some validity, there's some true knowledge behind these things. And that's the place where I got. And so I'll tell you the two things that, whatever spiritual path you follow, and a lot of them are great, and you can end up, I believe, in the same place through consistency in any of these paths. The two greatest things that they can provide you are, one, a better knowing of yourself, because I think a lot of us in this life are so focused on chasing external things that we don't actually take quiet time to actually know ourselves. Like, who are we at our core, and what really drives us? And like that age-old question that people ask, which is, if you had all the money in the world and you couldn't fail, what would you do? It's really a good proxy for like what your passion is, right? What you would truly go after. And I've talked a little bit about it in recent videos. If you just pursue the path of highest excitement, and you do it consistently, and you're just focused, and you're not like a never say die attitude in pursuing that path, you have all the potential in the world, literally close to 100% to be successful in that path. But the problem is that all this security that we think about from a human life perspective, well, I gotta have a certain amount of money, and I gotta have these things covered, and then the fear factor of doing something new keep us from going down that path. But if we start a spiritual path in some capacity, and we start to have quiet time and know ourselves better, and be truly connected to who we are at a deeper level, then that's where the magic starts happening. Then we start to know ourselves better, and that intuition we develop by the quiet time also starts to turn the volume up on the things that are actually interesting to us. Then it's your choice whether you decide to jump into the fear or not, or chase those, but you know yourself better, you know what you want, and you start to see the signs of what you can do. So that's big thing number one that spirituality and religion provide. The other thing is just a greater context for people in general. When you begin to know yourself better, you begin to know the world better. It's really straightforward and simple. And when you see your motivations for doing things, when you see how knowing what excites you and what your purpose is, what energy that brings to you, and the other big piece of this is when you know the things that you haven't addressed, that you haven't resolved in your mind, judgmental things that you have, negative habits, when you really start to assess who you are and these come out and you work on them and you see them from a greater perspective, all of that leads to looking at other people around you and having greater empathy, sympathy, more understanding, more supportive. You are all that for the people around you. So that's an incredible tool because you can go out and, number one, you can know yourself better and chase what is in line with your highest excitement and really pursue your purpose, which that's your purpose. And while you're doing that, you can look around at other people and have stronger relationships with other people because you see them for where they are, either unaligned, aligned, and if they're unaligned, you have sympathy and empathy to get them, help them on that path or be supportive. And if they are aligned, you just see how that meshes so well and how it's incredibly additive to their pursuit, right? So for me, I got over this initial reservation towards spirituality and I started to chase this path and run down this path, and it paid huge dividends in these two ways that I'm mentioning to you. So I would encourage you to find whatever feels like the right path for you, at least something close to the right path, and just be consistent with it and let it develop, because the world expands from there. And it can only be helpful to help you know yourself better, to be more introspective, and have better compassion and understanding for everybody around you. I wish you the best with this.